What's cracking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So, back again, re-ranking the edge class for the 2020 NFL draft. Doing this right before, Combine starts next week. So, I want to get this, and tomorrow will be the receiving class out before, the Combine happens, because a lot of this will probably change. And after the Combine, I'll give you my big board. I don't know how many I'll do on that, but hey, if you haven't already, become a bro and subscribe, and leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. It helps it out a ton. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get in on this. And I'm doing a top 20 for the edge class. We're going to start doing 11 through 20, and at 20 I got Alawale Beriku Jr. Awesome name. Out of Illinois, declared early. It was a bit of a surprise considering his lack of actual experience. Now, he's got a nice resume being a former 5-star recruit. He was a USC grad transfer, and he does have some nice tape this past season, mainly his 3.5 sacks against UConn, and more importantly, winning a few times against fellow NFL draft prospect Matt Pert. That was pretty impressive. He has nice physical ability, but he does need to get at least to that 250, 255 threshold. His small sample size, and he does have a bit of injury concern along his career, makes him a bit of an enigma in this class, but he does offer a lot as a late round developmental prospect. Now, Ladarius Hamilton at North Texas. Hamilton, he might fall in a bit of a recency bias for me, because actually his tape was the last I watched before I did this list. So yeah, that's on me if I have him a little too high. But I love what I saw. He performed well in the East-West Shrine game and during the practices. He's got good size at almost 260. He had 8.5 sacks last season to go with 17 career sacks. And we'll get to see him at the Combine as well. Then I got Kenny Willix out of Michigan State. He's been dominant in the Big Ten. 22 sacks over the last 3 seasons, but I do have concerns with his playing strength and his athleticism as far as how it'll translate in the NFL. I love his motor. If he can develop better hand technique, he could be a quality starter or even just a rotation guy, because he's a very good run defender, and those guys always get drafted. Next, I got Jabari Zuniga out of Florida. Dude has a ton of physical intangibles, and he'll explode at the Combine, and that'll move him up a lot of boards, a lot of draft boards. But to me, it's kind of a fool's gold. He only has a few pass rush moves. You kind of saw that even in his best tape against Miami. He really favors his inside move. I don't think he can win on the outside. I still think there is a lot to like about him, but he'll probably get drafted late day 2, early day 3, and that's probably, I wouldn't presume that's too high for my liking. Next, I got Anthony Jennings out of Alabama, and I have a very similar feeling towards Jennings as I do about Zuniga. I think he's going to be overdrafted, and you could see this in a lot of other people's mocks. They have him as like a late day 2, and I think that's just too high, at least for me. Now, I think he would have benefited from dropping some weight and trying to be an off-the-ball linebacker, but that boat has long since sailed. He has incredible power, really good length. He's going to be batting a lot of balls down at the line, and he's probably limited actually to a base 4-3 defense. He did have a knee injury in 2018, but even without that, in my opinion, it would remain the same. He falls as a late day 3 candidate on my board. Travis Gibson out of Tulsa coming here at 15. I think Gibson helped his status a ton at the Senior Bowl. 6'4", 260, has a good frame and a bend around the edge. Proving his hand technique would go a long way, but I do see him as an early day 3, and hand technique is something that you can, I don't want to say easily, but something you can definitely develop in the NFL. You kind of want to look for those guys with physical intangibles. And then Alex Highsmith out of Charlotte coming here at 14. He's ideally a 3-4 stand-up rusher only, especially he's only 242, which is kind of light. And he plays with a high motor and a good display of explosion and speed at the Combine would really, really help this guy's status. Shrine game weigh-ins kind of set off a few red flags when it came to his arm length. The guy's got short arms, and you really saw that during the year because he had a little bit of difficulty disengaging from blocks. And then Alton Robinson out of Syracuse coming in here at 13. First things first, I think most teams aren't even going to consider his character red flag anymore. It's an incident from his senior year in high school. Since then, he's been squeaky clean. So I don't think that's a factor to many scouts. Now, as far as his actual raw talent, he's very explosive, especially that first step. He's got a lot of speed, good speed. But at the combine or at the Senior Bowl, the practices, he really struggled on those one-on-ones. But I mean, during the game, he was an utter monster. So I think another guy that could really develop his hands. And I kind of stand by my analysis in my last video with him. I think he's ideally, at least early on in his career, he's a good 5 tech, or you could really use him in a Y9 alignment. And then on to Khalid Kareem out of Notre Dame. And I say this every time. This guy, I comp him to Trey Flowers. I think that's the best comp you could give this guy. He's never going to win with his speed, but his speed is adequate enough. He's strong enough to line up in the A and the B gaps, making him a very versatile chess piece for really any defensive coordinator. And then here at 11, Darrell Taylor out of Tennessee. Taylor, the dude, he put on some weight at the Senior Bowl, coming in at almost 260, which was really good to see. Thumbs up right there. Now, he had a hot end. He went on a hot streak to end the season. And I mean, what I've seen from most scouts, what their big concerns are, is he exclusively lined up on the right side, which is kind of important, kind of key, because in college football, they're pretty traditional when it comes to where they line their tackles up. They always put their best tackles on the left side. I'm not saying this is the case for all college teams, but it's kind of the standard. It's what you see most. But the dude played in the SEC. Essentially the best of the best. He had to line up against the best of the best, so it's kind of a non-factor for me. On to 1 through 10. Let's start at 10. Jonathan Greenyard out of Florida. Guy, I love this guy. He's got a great motor, a never quit attitude. He battled a wrist injury in his final year at Louisville, and then he was a grad transfer to Florida. And I love deciding to come to a program that's consistently bringing in incredible talent, talented recruits, at least from a physical standpoint. He's really good at setting the edge, and he shows off a lot of power. Again, another guy that could still develop in regards to technique with his hands. But Greenyard, I mean, he really made the most of his time there at Florida, and I think this is a guy you'll probably see on day 2. Terrell Lewis coming here out of Alabama, very strong lower half, and the dude's got 34-inch arms as far as his length. And I mean, he's just very strong. He's a very successful bull rusher, and I think he was easily the best defender on that Alabama team last season. Now, I'd like to see him deploy more pass rush moves, and during the Senior Bowl practice, you could kind of tell how limited his toolbox of moves really was in the one-on-ones. But again, you love the size, you love the strength. Bradley Anae coming in here at 8 out of Utah, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see this guy at the combine, because we all know he's got everything to lose at the combine, because we know he's not the best athlete in this class. He's not a great athlete, but that's not where he wins. This guy might have the best usage of his hands in the entire draft. And he's got a great resume. He's destroyed NFL tackle prospects like Washington's Trey Adams, USC's Austin Jackson, who's been falling into some of the late first round mocks that I've seen. And you kind of saw that he was a beast at the Senior Bowl, and I think like I said, he has everything to lose by going to the combine. Joshua Uchi out of Michigan. Well, I love this guy. I mean, he comes in a bit undersized at 241, but he stole my heart at the Senior Bowl. I like his ability to win with speed on the edge, and I love his maneuverability and his patience against centers and guards when he decides to rush on the inside. And he showcased incredible strength, backing down the likes of Tristan Wirfs, who's a monster, and Matt Pert. The guy, he's just pretty strong for his size. He showcases this is what I liked, what he showcased at the Senior Bowl, because he displayed that he was a pretty polished in coverage, which is I didn't expect. We all expected Zach Bond out of Wisconsin to kind of be that guy, because he's going to be an off-ball linebacker at the next level. And by the way, that's why he's not on my edge list, because now he's in my linebacking list. But he did what we expected from Zach Bond. And I'm just saying, Josh Uche's a guy to watch for to slip into maybe the late first or early second round. Yatir Gross-Matos out of Penn State. He's steadily improved year after year as a pass rusher. He developed his 6'5" frame, really filled it out, looking a lot more muscly, looking like a big, strong boy. And he still has a long way to go, at least when it comes to being a dominant edge rusher. And the thing is, I don't think he's too far off. The guy's got a pretty high ceiling. And again, he's kind of a developmental prospect at this point, but he's one with an extremely high ceiling. And that's why you see this guy going in the end of first round mocks or early second. Julian Akawara out of Notre Dame coming in here at number 5, top 5 for him. He's going to blow off the top of the combine. He should be good to go after a fibia injury, I believe. He's extremely strong, especially for being under 250. Talked about how strong Uche was. Okawara is a monster. He has an incredible bull rush, and he pairs that up with just blazing speed. Now, this is the concern, this is the knock, is his consistency, because most of his production came against Virginia last season. One team. And that's why he's gonna pass the eye test. And I'm gonna be talking about a very similar prospect that's right here at number 4. Let's just go into it. Clavon Chason LSU. Like I said, very similar prospect, very similar athlete to Okawara, and he's going to, again, tear up the combine. The guy's a monster. Reason I got him higher than Okawara is, yes, he has consistency concerns as well, but like I said, Okawara, all his production from last season came in one game, while Okawara, not Okawara, but Chazon, it was kind of spread. He has some very impressive film against guys like Andrew Thomas, who Okawara struggled against, and Samuel Cosme out of Texas. Like I said, by comparison, like Okawara, he struggled against, like I said, Andrew Thomas. He even struggled against Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. So I just like the more consistency from Chason's inconsistent tape, if that makes any sense. And then top 3, I think these guys are in a class of their own. Curtis Weaver out of Boise State. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know I am a huge Curtis Weaver fan. The combine is going to be very pivotal for this guy because there's questions about his athleticism, and he isn't exactly the sexiest looking 6'3", 265 pounder. Now, he's currently training in San Francisco, trying to lean up for the combine, and I really hope he does because he's a heck of a prospect. This guy, he's been feasting off the Mountain West, and I don't think that's a knock against him. It's like, well, it's lower competition. Good. He should be dominated against worse competition. Now, his one test this year was supposed to be against Florida State, and honestly, their offensive line was probably just as, if not worse, than some of the offensive lines he saw in the Mountain West. Point is, I love this guy as a passer. He's always finding a way to get to the quarterback, whether if that's on the inside or the outside. I think this guy, he could be a 4-3 end. He could be a 3-4 end. He could kick inside on third downs. I just love him. I think he'll get to the quarterback anywhere you put him. AJ Epinesa out of Iowa here at number 2. He was slow out of the gates to start the season, but he finished strong with 8.5 sacks over the last 6 games. I'm hoping he comes in the combine still around that 280 because he's very athletic for that size. The guy is a monster. I don't think he's scheme dependent. I think he's versatile enough to really fit in any scheme. I think he could get inside the pocket wherever you want to line him up. He's effortless when basically at controlling the point of attack, and he's very quick at processing whether to attack or to sit on or basically to stay put. He's very stout against the run, and he's disruptive against the pass. And then number 1, we all knew who was going to be Chase Young out of Ohio State. He's a freak. What's there more to say about this guy? He should be the top guy on your board if you don't need a quarterback in this draft. He had 16.5 sacks last season, and that was while missing 2 games. He won over 33% of his pass rushing snaps. And to put that in perspective, if you are winning 20% of your pass rushing snaps, you're actually pretty darn good. He won 33. This guy is a can't miss prospect in my opinion. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, let me know who you think should have been on this list in the comment section below. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.